And now, in a diplomatic engagement, Secretary-General of the United Nations, Mr. António Guterres, has visited South Africa on a courtesy call to South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Mr. Ronald Lamola. This high-level meeting comes at a critical moment as both leaders look to deepen collaboration and align their visions on key global issues. With the G20 presidency on the horizon, the meeting is vital to discuss strategies to advance the pivotal Pact for the future, focusing on accelerating efforts to meet sustainable development goals and climate commitments. News Central's Bongani Siziba has the story.
South Africa takes on the presidents of the G20. The United Nations Secretary-General António Guterres arrived in the country to discuss the immense potential Africa has in leading global affairs. Guterres said he is keenly aware of the significant role Africa can play in shaping governance and addressing pressing issues.
I'm here in South Africa on a mission of solidarity and a mission for justice. And I'm here at a critical time as South Africa assumes the presidency of the G20. This continent's potential is without question. Africa is home to a young and growing population, rich cultural and natural diversity, and a tremendous entrepreneurial spirit. But this enormous potential continues to be held back by injustices that are deeply rooted in the history of colonialism.
This high-level meeting not only symbolizes the strong ties between South Africa and the United Nations, but also highlights the urgency in their discussions, particularly with the G20 presidents on the horizon, a strategic alignment on the pivotal global issues.
This is where we remain rooted in the spirit of Ubuntu, despite our challenges and difficulties in our country. In our language, we explain Ubuntu by saying Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. Loosely translated, it means I am because you are. This is what ultimately drives our outlook to the world.
Minister Lamola also emphasized the leading role South Africa plays in the continent and that the country stands ready to be a leader, whether it's conflict resolutions or economic recovery.
We hope that through our G20 presidency, we can move closer to a world where sustainability, equality, and solidarity guide our efforts to address the most pressing challenges the people of the world are facing.
The Secretary-General António Guterres also touched on the ongoing war in the Middle East, from the devastating Syria to the pressing conflicts across the African continent.
We are witnessing the reshaping of the Middle East, with changes in the correlation of forces among the key regional actors, with the immense tragedy of the Palestinian people, whose right for self-determination and whose right to have their own state must be constantly reaffirmed. But we also see some signs of hope, and signs of hope namely coming from the end of the Syrian dictatorship.
He also pledged his support for Africa's bid to have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council.
Africa remains without one single permanent member of the Security Council, which is completely unacceptable.
But what does this entail, and is Africa ready and united in such a significant role?
I think it's important that the continent puts the issue on the agenda soon and try and find consensus. Otherwise, we will see divisions and a jockeying for positions and power influenced by external powers.
In Pretoria, for News Central, I am Bongani Siziba.